Hello, welcome to another lesson in this tutorial series on data analysis with Excel. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to do data validation in Excel. Data validation is a very powerful feature in Excel that we can use to control what a user can fill in a cell. If you come to your data icon here and then you see data validation, it helps us to pick from a list of rules to limit the type of data that can be entered in a cell. So if you click on this, we have the data validation circle, invalid data, clear validation circles. If you click on data validation, you can set the validation criteria. You can input the message you want your user to see, and then you can also input a message the user would see once an error is committed or an invalid data is entered. So basically, data validations help you to decide what type of values must be entered. It helps users also to type in only valid data, and also if an invalid data is entered, an error message will be displayed. So that is what data validation helps us to do. So let's look at few examples of how we can do data validation in Excel. So I have this name, date of birth, email, salary, and then I want to be setting this criteria for each of the column. So the first one is that name should accept just 15 characters. So to do that, I've done some validations. I'll just show you how I did them. See, if you notice, when I click on this cell, a message came up and it says input. It says input and says enter the name. So this is the message the user will see. Let me show you how I did this. So I come to data validation here, click on validation. Now under validation criteria, if you select this cell, you see a list of criteria. You have any value, odd number, decimal, list, date, time, text length. So since this is talking about text length, it says name should accept 15 characters. So since it's talking about text length, I click on text length, and then the data should be less than 15, less than or equal to, then the maximum should be 15. I can decide to increase it to 20. Let's say 20. So 20 characters. Then it says apply these changes to all other cells within the same settings. So that is, if you want all the cells under this column to have that same setting, then you click on this. Notice when I select this box, all the cells will highlighted, and then click OK. So you notice that these cells here will only accept 15 characters. Then so let me show you how I did this input. So now when you come to input message, then it says show input message when cell is selected. When cell is selected, show this input message. So the title, you select the title. So my title, I put input, then the input message, put it, which is enter the name, click OK. So you notice that this space can only take 20 characters. So let's test that. Let me say Oluwa. That is 5 characters. Ni mo tẹ̀lé. Ṣọlá fún mi. Okay, this should be more than 20 characters now. So let's see. So we see the error message. It says input length should be greater than 15. But that was the error message I inputted. So then you click yes. It will take it. Why it will take it when I clicked yes was because the kind of error message I selected. Let me quickly show you that. Come to data validation. Now come to error alert. the type of error message I selected was warning. If I had clicked stopped, then it would have cleared it. So then this should be greater than 20. That is the error message. So it says the error title error, then click OK. So I have the Zolu Animo Teleshola for me. Let me just clear it and retype it. Now if I click enter, now it says input name greater than 20, then it asks you to retry or you cancel. So once you cancel, everything clear. So that is how you do data validation for that. Now the next one is says the date of birth must be between 10 January 1990 to 30 December 1998. So how do we do that? Let's come to data validation. Though I've done it, let me just show you how I did it. So come to data validation here under settings. So the validation criteria here, you click on date. So once you click on date, then the data should be between 10th January 1990. So the start date, you type it here, it is 10th January 1990, and then the end date December, that is December 30, 1998, and then make sure it's applied to every other cell. The input message says input date, enter a valid date, and insert whatever input message you feel. Then the error alert, stop, the error title should be error, and the error message should be invalid date entered. So click OK, everything is set. So if you enter a date that is not within this range of dates, it won't take it. So let's see 10 1998. So it says invalid date entered. So you can retry or you can cancel it. So let me enter a valid date now. Let me just say 10 02 1996. This is a valid date. It will take it because the date is valid. So now coming here, the third one says the email should have an @ present in the value provided. So what we're saying is that whatever information will be supplied here should have @ So how do we do that? Let's come to data validation. Now here under the validation criteria allow, you click on custom, because you would notice that all the criteria here, none of it could fulfill this. So when you click on custom, then we need to use the formula to achieve this. So I've used this formula which says equals to is number find at then C2 to C14, which is the range of the cell. So once you use this function, then you'll be able to achieve this is number then find at C2 to C14, that is the range of the column that you have. Then you apply everything to every other cell in the column, and then input message, you can give whatever input message you feel. Say you can just type input, or let's say email. Then the input message should be enter your email here, so that will be the input message. Then error, when there is error, how do we do that? Let's say error, let's put the title to be error, and then the error message, let's say invalid email address, okay. So we have this, then click OK. So that criteria is set. You notice the message pops up. So let me just enter any value and see what happens. Okay, now it says invalid email address, so you have to put an @ okay. Let me change that so that the users can know what is missing there. Okay, let me see, add to this error message, say @ missing. Okay, so this is the error message the user will see. So let's see that. Say invalid email address @ missing. So that is how we do that. Here also the fourth one says the salary should be greater than 5,000. That is, whatever value will be entered in these cells should be greater than 5,000. So how do we do that? Let's come to data validation. Under settings, click on allow. Then you can click either whole, you can use either whole number, or you can also use decimal, any of them. And then the data should be greater than, because we are saying greater than 5,000, so minimum value should be 5,000. I can decide to increase it to 10,000. I mean 100,000 rather. Okay, this is 50,000, so this is 100,000. Apply to every other cell. And input message, you can decide to input whatever message, and the title and the message. The error too, you can do that. Then you click OK. So once I enter value less than or less than the value I want it to give an error. So there is an error. The value you enter is not valid. The user has a value that can be entered into these cells. Also, it says rank should be between 100 and 20. So to do that, come to data validation, settings, then allow value whole number, and then the data will be between. Click on between. Minimum value should be 100, maximum value should be 200. Apply to all the cells. Click OK. If you want to set a message for your user, you can input the message, and if you want an error alert, you can also do that as well. So once you enter a value that is not within this range, it will not accept it. Let me just put 20 here. It says there's an error. So that is one of the things we do with data validation. Another thing we do with data validation here is that we can also use data validation to select list, drop down list. For example, I have this now. These are city and places within the city. So I want to do a drop down list, just to select. For example, if you see this Akure here, if you click on this, you see that there's a list of cities under this. So you can select Lagos, you can select Akure, you can select Ado-Ekiti. So how do we get that done? Let me just show you how I did that. Come to data validation, settings here. Now under validation criteria, allow this drop down arrow, click on list. So once you click on list, then here select the source. Now here I have this here, Lagos spread out here. Just highlight everything here. Then if you want to input message for user, you can do that. If you want an error alert too, you can do that. So click on OK. You notice there's a drop down list here, and once I click on the drop down list, and I can select the city, Lagos, Akure. Okay. Then for places too, for example, places within Akure now, can decide to select data validation, any value, list, then click on the source for Akure. Okay, just come here and okay, so these are places within Akure: Newtown, Emekun, Alagbaka. Alright, so I can decide to just highlight everything down. Okay, so I select the list for Lagos. Here, come to data validation, list, then source for Lagos, and just click OK. So we have places within Lagos: Yaba, Ikeja, here let me select Abuja here and then do a data validation for it. List source places within Abuja. Click OK. So here I can select Kwali Zuba. Here I can select Ado Ekiti. Do a data validation for it list and then highlight the range of places. Then click OK. So places within Ado Ekiti, you can select any of them. So this is how you do data validation in Excel. So it helps you to to give users what they should enter in each field in your data. So this helps you to restrict what you don't want in your data that can be inputted by your user. It helps users to type only valid information that you need, and it also helps you to decide what data should be entered in your data, what values should be entered in your data. So the next lesson we'll be looking at more advanced features in Excel. Thank you.